Hello and welcome back to Off the Post. In today's episode, I'll be discussing whether or not it's Man City's last chance saloon to potentially catch up to Arsenal in the Premier League title race with 2 games left. But before that, as always, please like, comment and subscribe. It's very much appreciated and it goes a long way with me build a small community on my channel. We've recently just hit 316 subscribers, one on our way to getting towards 500 subscribers. Can we go and smash it? Hopefully we can. Just want to say a massive thank you for the recent support on our most recent episodes, all the likes and the comments on social media as well. Definitely is going to notice. And I just want to say a massive thank you for the overall support, really. But let's get straight into the episode, shall we? Now, Man City beat Crystal Palace 3-0 on Wednesday evening, and for me, this was a ruthless game for Man City, weren't they? They were so dominant from start to finish. They had all the possession. I think it had like 72% of possession, all the shots, 14 shots in total, compared to Crystal Palace's 6. So there was always going to be Crystal Palace in this game at home, of course, at the Etihad Stadium. There was always going to be Crystal Palace. There's no doubt about that. They was ruthless from start to finish. It was absolutely dominant from minute one. Okay, there was creating chances for fun. Don't get me wrong, Crystal Palace had their fair few chances as well. There was like there was one chance at the start of the game with Brennan Johnson's cross into Philippe John Mateta, okay, but he was unfortunately offside. There was one chance with Chris Richards, the centre back from the corner, lovely header of course, but it goes over the bar and whatnot. So Crystal Palace did have their own little chances throughout the game, but they just couldn't make anything work, unfortunately for them. And for me, Man City, when you need them to show up, they just did it, didn't they? Especially when you think about the lineup they put out. Okay, for me, this is almost their B team. They were missing quite a few players, weren't they? In that midfield, in that forward line. Missing Erling Haaland was going to be almost. I was thinking at the start of the game, was this going to be a bit of a disaster class almost because where the goal's going to come from. However, scoring 3 goals are absolutely fantastic. Okay, let's talk about that first goal. Okay, that Phil Foden assist has to be the assist of the season. It literally sent people to the shops. Okay, genuinely did. I didn't have a clue what was happening, and I don't think the Crystal Palace defenders either had a clue what was happening. Honestly, that Phil Foden assist was the best thing I've seen for a couple of weeks now. Honestly, lovely pass into Phil Foden, and then he does like a nice little back heel, okay, straight into Antonio Semenyo's path into the box, and he does a nice little, he takes 1 or 2 touches and he just slots it in the bottom left hand corner. Okay, absolutely fantastic, straight past Dean Henderson. He couldn't do anything about it, and for me, Phil Foden was so dominant in this game, wasn't he? He was literally everywhere. He was so effective. I think he got 2 assists even, didn't he? He was on to get a hat trick of assists. Unfortunately, he didn't get that third assist. I'm pretty sure it was Ryan Churchill who'd got that lovely dribbling play from him, of course. But Phil Foden, he was back to his best in this game, and that's what he potentially needs, doesn't he? He needs Pep Guardiola believing in him to be. He needs to start to put him in that main man at Man City, doesn't he? And hopefully now he can kick on and potentially do that next season. Well, for the rest of the season and for potentially England in the World Cup as well, because that assist will give his World Cup chances, the world of good, if you like, because at the moment, there's a lot of midfielders in there, attacking midfielders that you probably would have chose ahead of Phil Foden, yeah. Joe Bellingham, Morgan Rogers, Morgan Gibbs White, Abrit as well. You probably choose all of those players ahead of Phil Foden in the last couple of weeks, in the last couple of months, wouldn't you? But maybe if he can have a good back end to the season, potentially win the Premier League, potentially win the FA Cup as well against Chelsea next week, I'm pretty sure, and also potentially do some other stuff in the league. I feel like Phil Foden's definitely got to be in that squad. Maybe for me, we'll have to wait and see, because at the moment he's not really had the best season, has he, Phil Foden? But if he can do something spectacular again in the next 2 games, next 2 or 3 games, maybe he might have a shout of that World Cup squad. But Antonio Semenyo with that first goal again, it was so lovely to bring it down and just take 1 or 2 touches and just slot it home in the bottom left hand side corner. I'm pretty sure, if you like. And then even that second goal, okay, Phil Foden was involved in that second goal. Obviously, he was on the ball into the box from the left hand side. Okay, Phil Foden's in the box now, takes a touch to bring the ball down, of course, plays it into Omar Mamouche's path, okay, and the ball sort of rolls straight past Omar Mamouche, and he's sort of, a little bit behind the ball, if you like. So he's got to like circle backwards a little bit and just like do like a circle turn, circle shot, if you like, on himself, and again, he sort of just slots it into the bottom corner. So for me, Omar Mamouche, okay, he's not really, again, like Phil Foden, he's been very in and out of the team, hasn't he? He's not had a consistent season. He's not really been putting up those numbers like he was since he first joined. And there are rumours that he might be leaving in the summer, and that still might be the case. But again, this goal can't help him. This goal definitely can help him, whether he's getting a move to another squad, or whether Pep Guardiola will want to choose him for the upcoming game weeks. For me, I like Omar Marmoush. He's a good backup to Erling Haaland. He does have some good link-up play with Phil Foden, with Antonio Semenyo, with Erling Haaland as well. I have liked this time. It's a little bit unlucky that he's not really playing week in, week out, because I feel like he definitely can do. He definitely can do that, but for whatever reason, Pep Guardiola is just not choosing him. And then let's talk about the third goal just quickly. Again, at this point, it was Ryan Churchill who came on and he was bossing the game, wasn't he, like he has done in the last couple of weeks. Don't get me wrong, in the last couple of weeks, he's not been uh, that impressive as he has been at times. He's not been that effective. He's not really putting on numbers. But in this game, that lovely little driving run, okay, through the middle of the park into the box, passing it just into Salvino's path, okay, and he takes a lovely first time shot to just bend it round the corner of Dean Henderson once again, and he scores in what do I want to say, the 84th minute, Salvino. And for me, again, he's a player that just hasn't really been that consistent this season. He's not really produced the goods. He's not really been he's not really been playing week in, week out. But sort of start in this game when Man City need him. He provided the goods in this game, didn't he, against Crystal Palace? At this point, it was 2-0 down. They were 2-0 down, so it's pretty much down and out, weren't they, Crystal Palace? So at this point, he's sort of scoring a goal for the, well, not for the sake of it, but just to what's it called? Make sure Man City get all 3 points, really. And I do like the Brazilian forward. He's probably another player that Pep Guardiola will potentially move on in the summer. We'll have to wait and see. The sort of Man City's misfits not scoring the goals for these games, at least anyway, except from Antonio Semenyo, if you like, because he's definitely one of the main stars in that team. But again, obviously now Man City, they're second. Obviously now Man City, they're still in second on 77 points with 2 games left to play. Okay, so you got to think to yourself, they're still in the title race, aren't they? And they can potentially overtake Arsenal. Only on 2 points. It only takes one not missed opportunity from Arsenal to potentially drop some points, and Man City could potentially overtake them, can't they? Don't get me wrong, they've got some tough fixtures in the next game weeks. Okay, they've in the next 3 games, they've got Chelsea in the FA Cup final, they've got Bournemouth in the league, and they've got Aston Villa in the league as well. So for me, Man City do have some very very tough opponents in the next 3 game weeks. So they're not going to make it easy, are they? These 3 teams. But for me, can they go and do it? You will never ever rule out a Pep Guardiola team, will you? Because of what he's won in his career. He's the best manager in world football, isn't he? Pep Guardiola, the Spanish manager. He's absolutely fantastic. You will never ever want to bet against him. And for me, when it comes to Mikel Arteta and Arsenal, he'll be looking over his shoulder now, won't he? He'll be looking at Man City, piling on the pressure, and he'll be a little bit worried. He's gonna have to do some absolutely fantastic things for his Arsenal side to potentially win this Premier League. For me, I've been saying it all season. I feel like Arsenal will win it. I did have there were stages where I was thinking Man City could potentially overtake them because you can't bet against them, and I still feel like that's the case. However, overall, I think Arsenal do have the better team this season. They've been more defensively sound, and they've been putting up good numbers in every game. Always, they've been so consistent this season, haven't they? Even though they're not the best, even though they're not the best attacking side, free-flowing football, and not scoring goals for fun, are they Arsenal? I feel like overall they've been consistently the best compared to Man City, who've been off. They've been, they've had a bit of dry spells here and there, haven't they, throughout the season? So for me, it's a bit of a tricky one. When we talk about Crystal Palace, where are they in the league? Just quickly, Crystal Palace, they're 15th in the league on 44 points. So from that point of view, they've had a bit of a disappointing time of late in the Premier League, haven't they? Not had the best season. Hopefully they can bounce back next season. But again, Oliver Glasner is now leaving, isn't he, at the end of the season? So you got to think to yourself, who's going to come in to replace him? Is it going to be as good as it used to be? Obviously winning the Carabao Cup and whatnot last season, fantastic scenes or sorry, was it the FA Cup? It might have been the FA Cup last season. Fantastic scenes, and yeah, you got to think to yourself, hopefully they can get back to that form of glory that they once had. But Crystal Palace again, they have been good in the last 3 or 4 seasons under Ole Glasner. Now you got to think to yourself, who's going to come in for them and replace him? It's going to be a tough test for Crystal Palace next season, but if they can bring in some good signings, I feel like they'll be just fine, won't they? But yeah, let's end the video with some questions, okay? Is this the last chance saloon for Man City to catch up and potentially overtake Arsenal to win the Premier League? How do you feel about their main players, Antonio Semenyo, Phil Foden in this game? Getting 2 assists, potentially getting a hat trick of assists. Was this the best assist all season? How do you feel about the goal scorer Semenyo, Marmoush, Salvino? How do you feel about Crystal Palace in this match? How do you feel about them not really having a great season overall? Of the Glasner leaving at the end of the season, who's set to replace him? Who do you think is going to come in and do a good job? Will they be the same team as they were last season? But before that, as always, please like, comment, and subscribe. It's very much appreciated, and it goes along with having me build a small community on my channel. We've recently just hit 316 subscribers. We're well on our way to getting the main target 500. Can we go and smash it? Hopefully we can. Just want to say a massive thank you for the recent support on our most recent episodes, all the likes and the comments on social media as well. Definitely to go and notice. I just want to say a massive thank you, really, for all the support. But I hope you guys have a good rest of your day, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace out.